from 1988 too.
Live streaming is on.
Hi, Stephen.
Hey, Brian.
Press the space bar, Jeff.
There is one amazing thing about my house. You can't see it right now, but when I look out my front window, I can see the tower of the Cedar Creek station. So that's kind of handy.
Good. Well.
So I understand you have a key. I understand you have a key now, Jesse.
I do. I do not have any time to use it, but I do have a key now, which is great.
Well, if you have any questions about any of the equipment over there, just give me a call.
I will. I will have lots of questions. I'm gonna get it to do it, every once in a while, so it's just enough time to forget and then go back to it. But we'll see how it goes. I'll do my best anyway.
Question for Brian.
Yes.
The
answer is no. I've learned that from civil servants.
Okay, maybe you've told me the answer I don't want to hear. Down the right hand side, I see a few pictures of those that are in the meeting. Is there any way to get the rest of them on, like down the other side or across the top or whatever?
Alan, in the bottom right-hand corner of the video that you're seeing right now, there should be an icon that looks kind of like a window, 4 squares in a square. And if you click on that, it will switch to a tile view that will show you as many people as it can fit on the screen.
Got it. Thank you.
They just make the display smaller as more people add.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can still see
the default view is supposed to follow whoever's talking, but it gets confused sometimes.
Okay, that's fine. Who is Juliet Oscar?
Careful, or examiner.
John Semenuk.
Yes, that's me.
I don't know why it's chosen those letters to represent him, but...
Anyway, there's no picture for John, just his letter J-O.
Brian, I don't know if you have an agenda or anything, but we've got 4 project SOP form thingies to put on that agenda.
Okay, that come up under new business?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Two of them are from Fred. I don't know if he is going to make an appearance or not. But
yeah, I got one of them earlier. I think I'd left it up on my screen. The Ellison remote base.
Yeah, and he sent another one like 4 minutes ago. So he's probably he's up to 3 now. So he's rapidly typing away, I guess.
And after which he may even log in, you mean?
I would hope so, because I don't know what any of this is about.
They look interesting, all right, or at least the one that I got. So.
Speak of the devil, we get 2 of them.
Yeah. Said his name too many times.
Can you, let me see. How are we going to run them? I've got the one up on the screen on my desktop, but I don't know what can put them up on the
I can do
screen.
the screen share when it comes time if you want.
Yeah. Okay. I guess it would be too difficult to. You're getting them as emails, eh?
Yes. Who did Fred send them all to?
It might be better.
We got two of you, Gordon.
There's two of you there, Fred.
Two Freds, two Gords.
There we go. I got rid of the extra Gord.
And he came back.
Oh, there we go.
Well, there's Fred. That's like Fred.
There's not a lot of detail in the files he sent over, so we can probably just do the screen share and then we can send them out afterwards if people want the actual details.
Okay.
It's sort of the Clip Notes version of everything.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. No, I just that it makes it easier to discuss. I thought if people can see it, but not everybody's like me with a split personality and two screens running, but a lot of you are. 2,
You
3.
only have two screens?
Yeah, only 2. Well, I could pull out the phone, I guess.
Well, this will be my first video call with my acrylic eye.
Oh.
I have no lens in here. I have a lens in here because it's driving me crazy. One's for distance, one's for close.
Oh, so you had the laser, did you?
No, that full cataract surgery.
Oh.
A whopping 12 minutes of it. But it's amazing how much better the color is. And it's going to take 6 weeks before my prescription is going to be okay for that side. So.
I was going to say getting old is such fun, but you're just a kid still.
Literally, I was the baby at the hospital. Actually brought a baby in for eye surgery, so somebody trumped me, but I'm the 55-year-old amongst the 70 to 80. Well, there was one lady born in 1916, so she was 104.
Oh, wow.
And what pissed me off is they're asking her blood pressure, all good. Yep, nope. Any problems? Nope. No arthritis, no nothing. I only take some antidepressant medication, and I'm sitting there going, well, she's in better shape than me.
Yeah, but she's been retired for 50 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got my employer trying to kill me every day, so.
Your new boss is such fun too, eh?
Hey, Gord, do you recall the name of the fellow in Kelowna who was over 100, who was a ham?
No, I don't.
He used
That is ironic.
He used to check into the net on the Vernon repeater, but nobody's heard him in the last little while.
Who was running the nets up there then?
Oh, it rotates. Gary and a couple of other guys are doing the nets.
Somebody should have the call sign documented.
Well, since we're talking about older people in good shape, I just thought I'd mention that there was that one ham in Kelowna who was over 100. And actually, VE7 Whiskey Tango Echo, Wadi in Vernon, just hit 98 the other day.
Oh.
Brian, I tried sending those files, just forwarding them Hopefully it worked. So if there's anyone who wants to see them in detail, they should be in your email.
We're 4 minutes past the start time, Brian.
Yes, I just realized that. I guess, and we got 14 people, so we're good to go. Okay. So we got the call to order, a quorum, health and welfare. Nobody complained last night. So how about tonight? Anybody sick or injured or?
Fred had his eyes worked on.
Yeah. Do you think he's recovered yet? Well, he's working on it.
It's not very good looking.
I doubt whether we got any visitors in this group. Everybody get the minutes on October 22nd of the last meeting?
I got the minutes, but I can't find them.
Yeah, I had a heck of a time too, Greg. Finally, they popped up. I think my email system hides things when I'm looking for them. So, anyway, okay. Motion to accept, I guess. Don't all speak at once. Nobody wants
7 JXC is a first. 7 JXC. Seconder? PFH. Sold.
All right. Now, as per usual on this, is there any contrary? Okay, carried. Rob, are you around for the membership report? Or Jim?
He was here. Oh.
Keeps using Hamway and disappearing.
It's showing you as muted, Rob.
It's unmuting, but there's no voice. Okay, that's either one word or 1 minute.
It's like me with my headset the other night. All of a sudden it went mute and I thought, oh, good. You know, this headset has lasted me about 2 hours. But I think what it was is I hit the mute switch that's just about under my forearm. So is the microphone on my laptop all right? Or should I get the headset? It's okay.
It sounds fine here.
Yeah, it sounds fine here.
It's just Rob doesn't seem to have any audio there. He was playing with his boom mic there at the start of the meeting, and that didn't seem to help either.
Okay, well, let's move on to correspondence in the meantime, Stephen, and then see if we got any.
Well, we had that one letter from Cody Anderson regarding the Joe Rich Fire Department, I believe, but I think that has been addressed, right?
Yes, I dealt with that tactfully, shall we say. Yeah. For those
that might have been Rob.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Well, we could. It was a little broken, Rob.
You can hear me.
Yes.
Roger.
You might have
You can hear me. I was having microphone problems.
Yeah, you also have a non-optimal
Pardon?
connection.
Okay, Trey, go ahead. Have you got a membership report by any chance? No, your audio's gone again. Should we see if we can get Rob to touch the space bar?
He's not muted right now.
No.
No, if
Oh,
you
he is again now.
look at his connection, you'll find it's non-optimal most of the time. Oh, there it's good. Go ahead.
I'm showing him as muted. Elsie Allen has his hand up.
What wisdom do you have to report, Alan?
I have a question for Brian read the letter with the Joe Rich Fire Department.
Yeah.
Can you summarize for us what the content is, or is it
yes.
too long for
Briefly,
that?
what they were asking for was, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
What they were asking for was permission to use the little white repeater. And it gets in, the chief is actually a ham radio operator. So the problem that they run into is that when they get south of the big white turnoff and they're assisting the big white fire department or any collisions or things like that, they lose communications. The cell phone doesn't work and they lose communication. So he was, knowing that COSAR uses it, he wondered that too. And so the tactful answer was, you as a ham can use it fine. And I would hate to see any loss of life or serious injury as a result of not using it, and left it at that. In other words, I told him I can't give you permission to use it as a fire department, give you permission to use it, but as a ham, you can use it fine. So that's the way we left it.
Is Cody the chief? Is Cody the chief?
I don't know.
Yes.
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah, I think he is now.
Okay, his wife is also a ham. There's quite a few hams up that way.
And we suggested to them that a course might be in order too for some of the other members, and that would make it just fine.
Oh, he signed his email as captain, so I guess he's not quite the chief.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if there was more than just him up there with a ham license. And I like Brian's idea of promoting a course. We can have a small course probably anytime, as long as we've got a big enough room so there's distancing.
And I also referred him to the fact that John does Semic does is an examiner, so he's going to deal with it.
Yeah, Cody could teach the course to the rest of the fire department guys up there, and they could have their own course. And like you say, John could test them.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was it. I consulted our resident expert about permission, so. But that was the way I left it.
Thank you for that.
Okay. I guess the other, Stephen, the other correspondence we've got is we get a response out of COSAR.
Oh yes, we did.
Saying that we should have an answer within a couple of weeks, and I think that was more than a couple of weeks ago. But at least we know that they are alive and well, and you know, still working on it. And it appeared they sent back the original can't think of the word, the letter of understanding that we sent them. The idea, yeah, this is what we're working on. We'll let you know whether there's anything else we want to deal with. So.
Yeah, I suspect we'll probably hear from them like this week, because isn't their meeting like the Friday after hours or something?
I think it might be. Darcy's not here, is he?
No, he's not.
No. Okay. All right. Have we found RGM yet, or is he still dealing with mic issues?
I see him.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Hey, Bob.
Okay. Hear me now.
Try
Yes.
clicking on the camera icon at the bottom of your screen and turning your video off. Maybe
Okay.
your connection will be a little bit better if it's just doing audio.
Okay. How is it now?
Perfect.
Yeah, that sounds good now.
Looking better.
Are you on Hamland, Bob?
Oh, now his connection's dropped out again.
Okay. Anybody want to speak up about the tech committee, or? As I recall, that was a long-winded discussion about Hamland going into Mount Bushery School, and I don't know whether anything else got discussed, did it?
I can answer a bit on that. Bob and I went for a little walk by the water tower, and we cannot get a line of sight into Mount Bushery Secondary School. Good line of sight to Hudson, but that's the wrong location. And so we are looking for another location. But on the west side, there's a lot of these little hills and valleys all over the place. So we're going to try to find some spot where we can come to the west side with the Hamland, even if it's not the best spot, just get something started.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Technical problem solved. Sorry.
Okay.
I missed the end of the meeting.
All right. You got a membership update?
Yes. As of about a week ago, we had a total of 67 registered and paid members.
Sounds good. Was that? It was up a couple, I think, from last month. Then
Went up from what I've got in the minutes here.
It's up one, and that the newest member is Bob Stainsbury.
yeah. Okay. All right. Finances.
Okay. The bank account at the end of October, in the gaming account, we have $16,519.09. In the general account, we have $6,778.77. And I think the only change that has happened in November, which hasn't been booked yet, obviously, is that one membership renewal from Bob. And one other thing. Earlier this month, Jeff offered on the website a receiver, Yesu receiver, for somebody who would be willing to make a donation to the club. Jesse stepped up to the plate first. And I can tell you that Jesse has made a $50 donation to the club based on Jeff's largesse. So thank you to both of you.
Yay.
Thank you, Jeff. It's nice to have a toy.
It's only the beginning.
I'm assuming you got it working okay?
I have. I don't have a great antenna at the moment. I have some wires strung across the house, but that's just due to time. Give it a little bit.
Good. Glad to hear it. My workout.
Okay. I think normally yes, Alan.
Could you give me the name again of the was it a new ham?
No, it's just somebody who's the newest renewal, which is Bob Stainsbury.
Okay, I have a Brian Stainsby, but not Bury.
Yeah, I think that name is a little suspect.
Okay, Brian Stainsby is a COSAR member.
What's the call sign, Bob?
One moment.
If it was a renewal, I'm sure it would be Brian.
You're right. It's Brian Stainsby. My apologies. Call sign Victor Echo 7 Hotel Echo Sierra.
That is correct. I have the official COSAR mailing list here, so.
Okay, yep. So he just renewed a little while ago, but that's okay. That's good. Glad to have aboard.
Okay. We have a motion to accept the financials.
I move. It's great.
Seconder.
First, seconder.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Chris.
Any contrary? Carried. Okay. Where were we here?
Down to the tech, weren't we?
I guess, yeah. I guess in maybe these issues, Stephen, Fred put forward, would that be better to come under committees or?
Yeah, might as well come under the tech committee.
Though there's SOPs involved in it or something, isn't there?
Well, they're just.
Or is it referencing SOPs?
It's in reference to an SOP. It's a form that needs to be filled out according to.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
According to SOP PR0 or PRO01.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we want to do those now, Fred can start with his. Or do you want me to do the screen share, Fred, or are you going to share your own screen?
Push to talk, Fred.
Yeah, if you could share them, that would be better, Stephen. My computer can barely do what it's doing right now. I'll speak to it.
Nice picture of Okanagan Mountain.
While he's bringing that up, I might as well just bring up a couple of things. So I had sent out in the tech committee a couple of ideas on Wires X, and in the gaming submission, we had made room for some more fusion repeaters, etc. But Chris has built two wonderful MMDVM repeaters, and When you look at what they're capable of doing, I've pretty much think that we've come to the conclusion that we're good for repeaters right now, and if we do anything in the future, maybe we'll build our own MMDVM repeaters in the club. And so that does free up a little bit of capital because we have to cut back on some stuff. And so the thought that I had with these submissions is looking at what we sort of put in there is to keep it at a relative minimum, because we do have a problem on Okanagan Mountain with ice hitting the building, and we want to keep as much powder dry as possible so that we can afford to do something with the roof for protection. But there are a few things that we could probably move ahead on. Some of it is Hamwan related. Some of it is, looking at COVID-19, the idea being that we could move ahead with a few things like the remote base out in Ellison, because it's an asset that's underutilized. And if we make it a remote base, then it becomes accessible to anybody who's licensed to use the HF radio out there. And it solves a number of other problems. And then we also need some filters for Okanagan Mountain. So this is the first one. This is the Ellison remote base. We have a ICOM 746 Pro out there, which is a full-blown HF 100-watt 6-meter and 2-meter radio that hardly gets used, with a beautiful tower. And so for years we've been talking about improving the antenna system out there so we can use 40 meters and 80 meters. And in the tech committee, we had decided that we wanted to move ahead with the ICOM AH4 automatic antenna tuner. That's an outside tuner that just runs a long wire. They're also used on sailing yachts and boats and so on. So if we have anything more than about a 10-meter piece of wire, we can do all HF bands. Gordo had reached out to Radio World, and I think we got a price on that for $370 actually. He's got them down quite a bit, but I put it down here as $400. And we also need some antenna insulators. We'll get a 6-pack for $10. I'll supply the wire. One of the ideas here for station control was I've been playing with a thing called a Rig Pi, which is a little Raspberry Pi computer. You can buy them from MFJ. They've just come out with a new one, which is the 123.4B, which is the Rig Pi 2. It's a little station controller that's based on a Raspberry Pi, comes with 2 interface boards, and it basically turns the station out in Ellison into what will look like this if you logged into the web. So it basically creates our own little cloud, and so you can log into it from any computer. You don't even have to download anything because it's HTML5. It'll work on an iPhone, Android phone, a phone, or a tablet, and you log into the computer system and have full control over the radio. The cool thing with the Rig Pi 2 is that, as you can see, there's a little display in the center, and that is for a little web camera. So the ICOM 746 actually has a very nice display, and we can actually display you controlling the radio as well in the window. So this is a really cool little setup. It's different than our remote base out in at Shoot Lake, because the Shoot Lake remote base requires a PC and then connects to servers in the United States over the internet. And so if we had an internet failure, you wouldn't be able to remotely control that system. This is entirely hosted within the little Pi, and it's on a static IP. So if you're in the HamWAN, you can use it without the internet. And if the internet works, you can use it anywhere in the world. One of the other suggestions was to get the rotor interface for it, and then we can actually swing the beam around. So it makes a fully automated, completely remote control 2 meters and 6 meter and HF station. If we purchase all of those little parts, and I believe that was a total of $1,600 that I came up with, and it should be lower than that, but just to give ourselves a little bit of headroom here for taxes and shipping. We also need a little bit of cable, antenna cable L supply, a Raspberry Pi power supply. You need a CIV interface USB cable that basically connects to the radio for serial control. There's macros you can set up. There's also different levels of access that we can give to the system for just receive only and for transmit. So it's very nicely managed, and the system can basically be put on our webpage as a link. So I'm proposing that we purchase that equipment and convert our site out in Ellison into a full-blown remote base.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Go ahead.
Okay, when I'm looking at our gaming proposal, we have 3 items on the gaming proposal which come to a total of $3,339. And those are the ICOM HF remote antenna tuner that you referenced just now, but a Honda generator and 2 DMR Anytone mobile radios as digital radio upgrades. Appreciating that we have to cut our total budget down to about 60% of what we asked for, as we asked for 21,000 and we got 16. I'm just wondering how that all fits into the club station version of the gaming application.
So part of what we had submitted was for repeaters as well, for 2 fusion repeaters. We don't have to go and do the complete remote base. The thing that we need in order to make that site work is the AH4 antenna tuner. Now, the question is, do we buy DMR radios for grab-and-go kits during COVID-19 and then not really have any outside function this year? Or do we invest that in something that takes a site with a large tower and a fully blown base station and convert that into a usable system that can be remote controlled and gives it access to just about anybody? And so that is really where this debate is, whether or not that is something we would want to do and whether or not we can shoehorn that within the funds available.
Okay, and thank you for that, Fred. Appreciate that. I'm not bringing this up to throw water on the concept. I just want people to be cognizant of where we are vis-a-vis the gaming application and everything else. So, the only other comment that I'll make is that with the recent changes, or I don't know if they're recent, but with changes to the regulations, in order to be able to use a remote radio, you have to have an advanced license.
I understand that.
So that will limit the ability of most of our members to use the equipment.
You can use it in receive only, and that you could make widely available.
Yeah, the value of a remote receiver is very understated, especially for people like me who live in a very noisy neighborhood.
Appreciate that, and that's a good point. I guess the other element of it is that maybe this gives an incentive for more of our membership to get their advanced license.
It does bring up an interesting concept, though, as the ratio of members that do have it. It's unfortunate that the regulations have changed in that regard, because I can see it being quite useful to somebody who either lives in an apartment or can't stick much of an antenna up anywhere. Being able to use it other than just a handheld.
Yeah, that was the full point of that. And we happen to have a really great radio out there, which includes even 2 meters. Even for a 2-meter remote base, I believe you will need the advanced license.
Stephen, do you happen to have any sense of how many of our members actually hold an advanced license on a percentage basis?
I don't know that we've ever collected any information like that.
Okay.
For anybody who had because a basic license has not always entitled you to HF privileges either. So anyone who has been licensed for more than 20 years, more than 18 years, would not have had the ability to get basic with honors.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put myself as an example. I hold a basic with honors license, but I don't have an advanced license.
Yeah.
And I've held my license for, I'm going to say close to maybe just a little less than 30 years.
Yeah, I think it was in 2002 that basic with honors became a thing.
Yeah, I had an old, I can't even remember what license I had, but anyways, I don't have an advanced license, and it's kind of interested me at times, and I thought, well, maybe that's a project for this winter, but it would be useful. Maybe this is a good incentive for people who don't have an advanced license to go ahead and get one. And Gordon wants to.
I don't think that this is the time to discuss the merits of an advanced license. We know what the regulations are. We're supposed to be discussing budgets. I would like to suggest we move on.
Yeah, thanks, George. I think we should just table this for the time being, and by next, I don't think there's any panic at the moment. So by next month, we could revisit it.
There is no meeting next month, Brian.
Oh, you got a point there, haven't you? So how crucial is it then really that we make any decision on this right now?
Well, the reason that I put everything in the way I have is if we wanted to move ahead with a radio world order, we've got some package pricing, and we've had some reduced pricing here on the Fusion radios, on the AH4 antenna tuner. The RigPi Station 2 server, I talked to Radio World today, they don't even have in stock. Most likely it's going to be $429, but they couldn't tell me. It's $329 US dollars, and the dollar is at about 77 cents. So they were going to get back to me, and we may get a bit of a break on that anyways as a club. So it's quite possible it could be 400, but I put it in as 490. The antenna rotor interface is something that you may or may not purchase. The same with the webcam. So the whole thing is, do you hold off till January on everything that you're buying from Radio World and then see if you can get the pricing that we were trying to get as a group together purchase, or do we do multiple small little purchases and then decide if we wanted to move ahead? What my next thing was the Yaesu radios. We originally had requested 4 in the budgeting, but I've only added 2 to keep the cost lower, and a Diamond X50. We've dropped a couple of other items on that as well, just to keep the cost low. And then there's the DCI filters. So those are the 3 things that I was looking at doing. And that works in concert with the HamWAN idea of improving internet out to Ellison, if that's something that we wanted to do. And then, of course, there's a dish that goes on Okanagan Mountain, because I've been in conversation with the Penticton Club. They've decided to put funding aside for the dish antenna at Campbell to link into Okanagan Mountain. And so that was sort of things that you could get into the supply chain and perhaps get them in sort of January, February. I myself have eye surgery again in February, March, and that will set me back another 6 weeks or so. So after that, I get busy with the farm. So I was just looking at things that I can do, and whether or not that fits into the time frame, because timing kind of matters to me as well. There's only so much time available, and this is something that I could do over the winter months.
So I'm going to interrupt for a minute, and I am going to make a motion that given the current situation and the fact that this is a project that can be done in the winter because there isn't a significant outside component, I would like to move that we allocate approximately $1,600 plus shipping to the purpose of a remote base installation for Ellison, as described in the funding application.
Seconder?
I can't see any of the people right at the moment, so you'll have to speak up.
I'll second it, Stephen. Go ahead.
So I guess now we can officially discuss it and then call the question.
Okay, just had to unmute things there. Is there any further discussion that any further input anybody wants to put in? Alan?
So does this motion include the HF antenna wire setup for Ellison?
Yes.
As I have it noted, it would include the ICOM AH4 antenna tuner, the insulators to install that, the RigPi station server, the antenna rotor interface, a webcam, a CIV interface cable, various audio cables and interfacing hardware, and a Raspberry Pi power supply.
And that comes to how much?
That was a total of $1,405 according to Fred, and then I assume with tax it comes out to $1,600 plus shipping.
Okay.
Yeah, I rounded everything up, so it's going to be below that.
Yeah.
Probably around 1,500, but just to be safe.
Did Fred move it?
I moved it.
I'll second it.
Gord already seconded it.
Yeah, okay. Any further discussion? No, I can't see hands on too many. I think I've got about 4 on my screen, and that's about it. So is there anybody that's contrary? Hearing nothing, motion is carried.
Thank you. I think you'll like it.
Okay.
Sounds like fun.
Well, something for everybody, and it's because it's web-based. It's so easy to manage.
Fred, just a quick question. Do you think that there's a possibility that if this works out well, that we could rejig the one at Shoot Lake as well?
Yep, all you need is the Pi. And there's a cheaper way to build it. The MFJ is the whole kit with interface, with CW, with everything. I've been playing with the RigPi myself. I built my own version here. And I'm running an FT 847. 857, and I'm going to be using this as remote bases. That'll be what I'm going to be putting on Okanagan Mountain. And you can actually remote control it from your iPhone. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Damn, and I just bought a new Samsung.
It'll work on that too. Anything that can get to the web, and you don't have to download any software. This, by the way, if I can get it here, is the app, free app running on an iPhone, and that's your full-blown HF 6-meter, 2-meter radio, right there, in the back of your pocket. Single sideband, AM, FM, the whole works.
Okay. We got 3 of these to go with, haven't we?
From me, and then 2 from Stephen.
Yeah. So let's try and do this in an expedited fashion. I'm going to make a motion, and
Okay.
then you can answer questions.
No,
I
that's good.
move that we allocate approximately $2,100 to purchase filters for Okanagan Mountain, Kuipers, and Landmark.
You were cut out with the dollar amount. Could you repeat that, please?
Okay, I move that we allocate approximately $2,200 for filters for Okanagan Mountain, Kuipers, and Landmark.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion? Contrary? Carried.
Thank you.
I'm in favor.
Got to get them done before Ralph completely retires.
Okay.
Third one forward, Fred.
Okay, so this one's for. So what we've done is we bought a whole bunch of FT400 radios, and we've consumed some of them for the wires X linking. And so we were going to buy some FT100s. They don't make those anymore. And the cheapest radio that we can buy right now is for that has the capability of linking is the FTM300. We originally put in for 4 for grab and go kits. However, I think what makes sense is to buy 2 FTM300s, put one in Ellison, one out in Shoot Lake, extract the 400s so they become grab and go kits. That gives us a total of 4 grab and go kits that are all identical FTM 400s. The FTM 300 has dual codecs in them, so they can actually receive 2 simultaneous digital channels. And with all the repeaters that we have running right now, that is going to be handy at the club stations. Also includes a Comet X50 and a duplexer.
Comet X50?
A Diamond X50, Comet duplexer.
Sorry, Diamond X50 and a Comet duplexer, VHF, UHF.
And the total amount there, I see it, $1,400, right?
Correct.
Plus the shipping?
Well, that's included, $50 shipping. It'll be less than that. Usually, Gord has again twisted their arm and squeezed the radios down to $520 instead of $570.
And this will help solve our grab and go kit situation as well.
Completely solved, and this is something that we can deploy rapidly and work on during COVID-19.
Okay, so it's another, what, $1,400 you say? Give or take?
That's correct, yep.
Yeah. Any further discussion?
We need a second.
We need a motion, don't we?
Yeah. I'll move that we allocate $1,350 plus shipping for FTM 300 radios, antenna, and duplexer for club stations as described in the funding application.
MET, I'll second.
Discussion? Contrary? Carried.
Thank you again.
We got any money left in that?
I believe Jeff is there.
Well, all I'm getting out of this conversation is a bunch of
I cannot understand what Jeff is saying, unfortunately.
I cannot either.
You're going R2D2. Turn your video off.
Jeff, can you try it again?
right?
No, it's very garbled.
What was the motion?
The most recent motion was that we allocate $1,350 for the purchase of 2 FTM 300 radios, 1 Diamond X50, and 1 duplexer for the club stations, as described in the funding application.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
That's half of what we originally had asked for in terms of radios for that, but so we're cutting back on stuff.
And just for those of you that are keeping track, because you know I am, if this motion is approved, we will have allocated $5,200, or about a third of the gaming grant at this point.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
Well, I'm a little concerned that we're doing this piecemeal rather than reviewing the list of items on the original thing and resubmitting it to the meeting, though. I don't have the original list in front of me, but I'm assuming that if we had to pare it down, there's other things on there that we're not discussing, so it's a bit of a concern in that regard.
I think it was the substitutions that pared it down rather than having to buy all. Instead of buying 4 radios, it's buying 2.
I'll give you kind of a Reader's Digest analysis. On the club station side, we had allocated in the gaming grant $3,339, and in the grab and go kits, which this effectively substitutes, it was $3,233. The filters are in each of the locations, and so I would have to do some calculating, but I think the filters are exactly per the gaming grant.
So was that everything that was actually on the original list? I don't think so.
No, the original list came up to $21,320, and we were allocated $16,500. So there's a number of things that are left. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me look. Okay, so.
Yeah, Jeff, the whole idea was not to go spend all of it, because we really need to look at what the roof will cost at Okanagan Mountain before we decide on some of the other items. But if you look at the DR2 repeaters, yeah, if you look at the DR2 repeaters, we pretty much decided in the tech committee meeting that we're not moving ahead with those. And so we've cut some of that back. There's some filler in there, like cable and lots of cable and connectors and stuff, right, that we can work around. There's the Honda generator, which is nice to have, but we've got one, so cut that.
And
any
that was
tone
a filler
mobiles
item
would be
to
nice
begin with too. So
yeah, so we're like in the radios, there's 4 FTM 300 radios. We're only getting 2, and we're not paying $630. We're paying $520, right? We're not buying the camera microphones, so it is basically cherry picking through here to the most essential and the things that we can work on over the winter months. Then I think in the spring you look at what it would cost to fix the roof up there, and then determine what other things you can move on. There's things I'd still like to do, like All-Star and linking on the repeaters, but we can't do it right now anyways, and that's something that we can purchase really quickly, and it's not a lot of money.
No, I hear you, but you're right. We're sort of cherry picking, and I didn't want anything else to suddenly crop up and say, well, how come we didn't do any of those things? That's all. The roof business, we've been having ice problems from the other people up there.
No, the 270-foot tower, we had a chunk of ice come down, hit the container, put a dent in it, and all the fluorescent light bulbs fell out.
Oh, geez. Nice.
So we're looking at something out of wood or preferably steel, but
I think it should be steel.
Exactly, and with the way timber is going right now, we may not, the difference may not be that big.
Side steel doesn't rot off.
Yeah, so we just gotta, it's gonna take a little while to figure out some options here, and we're not gonna be able to get into the site anyways till July, but we should, June. So we should have that figured out before we move on some of the other items in the spring.
The metal roof is probably going to affect our radiation patterns, though.
Well, it doesn't have to be that high, but we'll see what we can do. But I think it would be wise to keep $5,000 or $6,000 set aside for that at least.
Yep, I agree. Otherwise, I'm fine with those radios, but it's just I didn't want to see, whittling down and then finding out that we completely ignored something else that we shouldn't have.
Oh, that's understood.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for bringing that up on the screen.
Okay, let's find the next. Okay, so the next proposal we have here is for a link radio to connect from Okanagan Mountain to Campbell Mountain. It's my understanding that the Penticton Club has committed to acquiring the other end of the link, as well as sectors, you said, Fred?
No sectors at this point. They just want to go dish to our dish. That was my original understanding, but I spent a little bit of time talking to them today. They just want to get the link established, and down the road, they will install some sectors.
Okay. So this is a proposal to allocate approximately $457.94 plus shipping for the purchase of one 30 dB dish, a sleeve kit for that dish, which encloses it and adds a radome. It helps with the interference rejection, and we get a cleaner signal out of it, and the radio to go with that. That equipment would be installed at Okanagan Mountain to facilitate the expansion of Hamwan into Penticton. The Penticton Club is acquiring matching dish and sectors. I'm going to correct that right now. I thought they were getting sectors. To install on Campbell Mountain. I unfortunately could not get a shipping quote for this when I was putting it together because, I don't know, the only shipping it was giving me was either send my own courier or pick it up myself. But from past experience, the shipping is going to be about $150.
Where's it come from, Stephen?
In this case, it's coming from Ontario because Solar Media does not have the equipment in stock. However, if it comes into stock at Solar Media, we may order it from there instead. The price is the same.
And they're where?
Solar Media is in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
They're the company we have ordered from in the past.
So are we thinking, Stephen, in terms of an estimate, are we thinking maybe $650 is an estimate for the total shipping in?
Yes. Let's put that in my motion. $650. And we may be able to get cheaper freight if we include this with the order, the next order or the next motion that I'll be making.
Okay, and just for Jeff's benefit and others, this exact item was included in the gaming application, exactly as it's been described here.
Yes, I thought we had included the entire Penticton site in the gaming application, but looking at that document that I had up a minute ago, we did not. So this is just one link radio was the only thing that actually made it into that application. Unless I'm misreading this somehow.
No, that's correct, and it's great that they actually stepped up to work on the south end, so we don't have to carry that weight. But it makes no sense for them to own a dish that's on our site, so we'll just take care of everything at Okanagan Mountain because you want to control the infrastructure.
I'll second the motion there, Stephen. Greg?
Thank you, Greg. So I'll just restate the motion. I don't know if I actually made it. I move that we allocate approximately $650 with shipping for a link radio to link into Campbell Mountain from Okanagan Mountain as described in the funding application.
Except, Stephen, I'd like you to take the word approximately out of there. If you're going to make a motion for an amount, that's good. We may not spend it, but let's move a specific amount.
Okay, well, we've already made 3 motions with the word approximately in them.
No, I don't believe so.
I made the motion.
But I'm
Use the word approximate. We're telling you, you typed it incorrectly. Hi.
I'll still second it.
Okay. Okay. Is there any discussion for that?
Okay. Anybody contrary? Carried. Next.
Okay. There's one more of these. Where's the next one? Now, when I wrote this, thought this was part of our application, but it is not. So this may require a little bit more discussion than the other ones have required. Fred asked me to put together a proposal to purchase 4 of the large 27 dB lightweight Hamwan dishes. These would be to replace the dishes that are installed at Cedar Creek and Ellison, and install a radio at the storage can at the COSAR facility, which would serve 2 purposes. We can install a security camera there, and we can also claim that COSAR is a served agency in that we can provide Hamwan coverage there immediately should it be required. So is there, well, I will just make the motion.
I'll second it.
So the motion here is I move that we allocate $670 for the purchase of 4 LHG5 XL high power radios as described in the funding application.
That's basically a Hamwan terminal in.
Yes.
Yeah.
All clients.
Stephen, as I understand it, did somebody second the motion?
Yes,
Great.
Fred did.
Okay, good. So I'm presuming I'm in the discussion phase. No, I don't want to overstep. As I understand it, if we're going to replace smaller dishes with the larger dishes, those smaller dishes may be surplus to the club's needs?
Yes, likely.
Is that something that maybe we can offer to Penticton to purchase from us?
I can't speak for the entire club, but I would have no objection to us recovering whatever we can from that equipment.
Although I do have a comment here, I think they're not putting sectors in at this point, and if they were putting sectors in, they would probably want to go to the 27 dBi. But it's something that for us to look at as well as if we want to put in receive sites. But I'm not against passing on the dishes. What I'm interested in doing is with the break-in that we've had out at the can, we've got power in our little can. If we put a dish on it, we've got internet right beside search and rescue, and we can put a little security camera in there very cheaply.
There's also been discussion of trying to get Hamwan presence at some of our other sites, like the Orchard site. Even if it's not going to be a Hamwan sector site, things like having a camera and remote relays to power cycle the repeater and stuff like that. the smaller dishes should be suitable for that as well.
I have a question. Could any of this equipment be used for Hamland trying to come to the west side?
Given the distances involved, probably not. But if we had to do a point-to-point somewhere on the west side, then yes, 2 of those radios may work. They'll do about a 10-kilometer link point-to-point in a congested area.
Yeah, although I can tell you that I have one of those smaller dishes, as you know, Stephen, and I don't have the best of signals, but I'm connecting to Black Knight, and I'm 22.5 kilometers away.
The Black Knight is pumping out quite a bit more power, though, as well.
And Doug wants to speak.
Yes, Doug.
Yeah, I just had a question about the numbers. You've got each of those dishes being 129 US, and so wouldn't that be closer to about 650 for 4 of them?
You may well be right. Have I toggled this back to US dollars somehow? I happen to have that cart open. Give me a minute here.
Thanks for running the meeting, gentlemen. I gotta go. You have a good night.
Thanks, Jesse.
Good night, Jesse.
Yes, you are right. I don't know where that number came from. Okay. This, I believe, is the US dollar price.
Multiply it by 1.4 roughly.
4,679. There we go. So we need 880. I will fix the motion in a moment here. Okay, I move that we allocate $880 for the purchase of 4 LHG5 XL high-powered radios as described in the funding application.
And I'll still second that.
The $200 shipping here is also based on them shipping them individually. They do come in packs of 4, so hopefully we will get a shipping break for buying all 4 of them.
And will we be able to acquire these from Solar Media?
Yes. I would say we should acquire everything from one vendor if possible, but Solar Media does have these in stock.
And the good thing is we're early, so we're not in a rush. The supply chain, the stuff comes from Latvia. It's going to take a little while to get here. Even the order with Radio World, for the MFJ stuff, might drag us into January.
Yeah, and
we're okay to go ahead, right?
Yeah, we can specifically order the stuff from Solar Media, and they will ship it to us when they get it, kind of thing.
Okay, any further discussion? Not appearing. Anyone contrary? I see nothing. Oh, no, a little hand down the corner doesn't mean anything at this point. Okay, carried.
Okay, and for those people who are keeping count, so far we've approved $6,080.
Perfect. What was required to be spent by what time?
Usually in the first 6 months, you want to spend 50%. Correct, Gord?
Definitely 50% by the end of June, our fiscal year end.
Okay, so we got, for right now, we're okay. But I guess we want to go, as Gord says, we should go another 2,200 by the end of June.
That should not be a problem.
I want to get my laugh into.
Not while we're working on it this way. What's this one, Stephen?
This is the same one. Sorry, I was just copy and pasting.
Oh, okay.
All you have to do is establish a west side link, and that eats up the rest of the ham WAN for $2,200.
And another note is installing the linked radio on Okanagan Mountain for Penticton will free up a sector radio and antenna, which we may potentially consider installing at Blue Grouse.
Or on the west side.
Or on the west side if we find a sector site. If we can't find a sector site, though, we can cover some of the west side from Blue Grouse.
Just for the record, Blue Grouse is on the west side, Stephen.
Yeah, there's a mountain in the way of getting around to where we want to go with that one for Bushery, though.
Yeah. Blue Grouse may be on the west side, but you can't see it from West Kelowna. Ask somebody who tried to receive global television when he moved here.
You don't get it twice like the rest of us?
Fred could answer that.
Okay. Did we have another one that we have to deal with?
I only had 2 and Fred had 3, so I think that is everything.
That's all the money we need to spend. My wife turned out one of the lights here, so I can't read the program. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give just a quick summary of what we had on the gaming application that we haven't allocated money for yet. There was a Yankovi boards and a Raspberry Pi and so on for Black Knight. There was Raspberry Pi and antenna and power supply for Kuipers. There was filters and Raspberry Pi and antennas for Little White. And for Okanagan Mountain, there was computers and controllers and All-Star and everything else. And finally, Big White, there was a fusion repeater.
Yeah. So what I was thinking is that in sort of January, February, the Raspberry Pi stuff might be something that we can look at for All-Star, but I wanted to fix the IRLP stuff first because it's been sitting around for a little bit. And so we don't have to act on that, but that would be sort of, again, grouping all the Pis together and any of the analog linking that we want to do. And then before we get into Okanagan Mountain, the DC chargers, because I've lent my 30 amp 12 volt charging system Samlex up there, and we wanted to do a redundant system. That's the SEC 1230 UL Samlex supplies. We need 2 of those. That in itself is $500. So there's, probably $1,000 that we can move on sort of February-ish. And then anything that you come up with ham WAN at that point. And the rest of it we should hold back for the roof till we know where we're at.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Go ahead. There's no dumb questions, just dumb answers.
Is All-Star and the repeater system that Chris has come up with, are they about the same thing?
No. So the DVM repeaters that Chris built for Vernon and for Kuipers are fusion repeaters. They're P25 digital. They're D-Star digital. They're NXDN digital. They're all digital. Now, the hardware that we put in place can run analog as well. And that is something that we may do in DSP down the road. If they start linking it together, it's something that we're going to maybe experiment with. But All-Star and Echolink are essentially the same as IRLP, except that the voice quality on All-Star is much superior. It's really a asterisk phone system. So if you've ever used a Cisco phone system or so, that's kind of what this is, or a Polycom. It's essentially the same kind of system, but used as a repeater. And instead of your phone number, that's your node number.
Okay, so it's like IRLP then.
Yeah.
Yep. And in fact, I have, let me just dig it out here. I don't know where I buried it. I will show you the first Echolink All-Star node that's going to run at Kuipers in a second.
I think the confusion comes from the software used to run the multimode repeaters is called Pi-Star, and the analog linking project is called All-Star. They're not related.
Yeah, that's why I prefaced it by saying a dumb question.
Yeah, so this is the little Raspberry Pi here in a nice aluminum machine case that is 2 nodes. So this is Echolink. It's upside down, I guess. Well, let me just flip it here.
No, it was fine.
Was it fine? Oh, okay. I see it sideways reversed. But anyways, that's the All-Star node 45318 or 81. And it's also an Echolink node 611522. And so this does both modes. So the cool thing here is, depending on the DTMF codes that you're going to use on the simplex link, which will be on 146400, running 5 watts at Kuipers, you can go into either system. Echolink is a little lower quality than IRLP. All-Star's much superior. It's more data. It's a really nice hi-fi linking system. And there are probably around 20,000 nodes and repeater systems around the world. Echolink is really, really big in Europe and Asia. All-Star is much more prevalent in North America. And the cool thing on an All-Star repeater system is that it's full duplex. So actually you can all sort of join in on a round table and talk over top of each other. It's very much like the video conferencing we're doing here. It's a really nice system. And so I'll have this up and running, and this is what we're going to be using actually to tie Golden into Kelowna. I've taken a group of All-Star node numbers. I've got a block of 10 allocated for the Orchard City Amateur Radio Club for All-Star linking. And so if we add, it's a $50 US little interface that plugs into the back of our ARCOM controllers and a Raspberry Pi, and we can add beautiful linking to the systems, including a phone patch actually remotely. So very inexpensive.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for that explanation. I understand much more than I did 10 minutes ago.
And the cool thing too is we do have some Cisco phones. I've collected a few myself. You can actually use a VoIP phone, flash the firmware, and make it so that when you pick up that phone, you're actually connected to the repeater.
Tom will like that.
Be more like us Shaw customers that can use it.
The other cool thing is that this actually is your repeater controller. So this will do duplex. In fact, you can run up to 3 All-Star nodes on one Pi. In some cases 4 with the newer Pis. Not that you want to do that, but I'm only going to be running 1, but I could run 2 nodes on here, which is really cool.
So it takes the place of an ARCOM then?
Oh yeah, and it actually has more features, remote-based features, voice ID, you name it, all built in.
And when is the course on how to operate this?
It's going to be just like IRLP when it's up and running. I'll send out a list of DTMF codes and links to well, actually, if you go on the Wikipedia, you can see a little bit of stuff, but it'll show you the node numbers you can connect to. There'll be a list. And with DTMF, you'll just punch in the codes to link to that, and you're connected. And it'll tell you in voice ID, welcome to the Southern California repeater system, and beep. Once you key up, you're on the system. There's a whole network through the United States, the PAPA system. There's the WIN system that they actually stream the audio on the web. And that's all Star linked together. It's amazing audio, actually, worldwide. Nicer, actually, than the digital audio in some cases.
Okay. Now, what do we have to do with this, Fred?
Nothing. I'll put up radio on 146,400, and you can dial it in and use your DTMF pad to connect to stuff if you want.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Where are we, Stephen?
I think that's about all of the stuff that I have. Does anybody have any new business?
I think we sort of mashed it into somewhere between committee reports and everything else went on. So I think we've pretty well covered it. Unless there's anything else anyone has to add, or no, silence is golden. Okay. Do we call on Greg again?
I moved to adjourn.
Hiding. Okay. That being said, it's almost Merry Christmas time, eh? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn then.
Yep, I heard.
I moved to adjourn.
Did I mute this thing again? No.
I can hear Greg.
Fred, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you, but you can't seem to hear me, Brian. But I did move to adjourn.
Yeah, we heard you, Greg. The only person we can't hear is Chris.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. And thank you for a nice job on those digital repeaters, Chris.
No problem. You're welcome.
Are we going to make, is that it for them, or are we going to make more?
Oh, they're going to multiply.
Chris is on a roll, is he?
Well,
There's going to be at least one more.
At least one more. And by the way, in the discussions today with the folks in Penticton, they may let us put it at